Welcome to Tapping Vegas, brought to you by Better and Green. Today we're breaking down UFC 328, and we are in for a treat. Bobby, we've got two title fights. We have Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, and Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Last week, we went up over 2 units. If you did just the plays on the show, if you follow us on our social medias, and you get all of our extra plays, about 5 units up last week. A great week. I was our leader in Tapology. If you guys think you know UFC and you guys want all of our picks, make sure you go join our Tapology prediction group, Better Green MMA. If you win the week, you get a shout out on the show. Bobby, let's just get straight into it. Every week we give the people 5 bets, 5 of the most exciting fights. And, I'm open to Josh Van Tatsuro Taira because that's what we were talking about before we got on. A little sneak peek of what's coming up. But the first fight that we are talking about is going to be a Tibagat. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to. You guys should know. You guys should know who's going to win that fight. No, we're talking Roman Kopylov versus Marco Tulio Silva. Bobby, this one stood out to me based on the odds. And I got quite a bit to say about it, but I'm going to let you start with this one.
Yeah, this fight's interesting. You got Roman Kopylov. He's got 54% of the bets on DK, 46% on Marco Tulio. Currently plus 154 money line for Kopylov, minus 185 for Marco Tulio. So how I see this fight playing out, it's pretty difficult, but I'm going with Marco Tulio for a few reasons. One of the first reasons is Kopylov is a guy that I've talked about on this show a lot. I really thought Kopylov had a place in the middleweight division, was going to make some noise, had a lot of promise, and it just kind of has petered out recently. I mean, he lost to RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez last November. Before that, he lost to Paulo Costa. His last win was against Chris Curtis, January of last year. Cesar Almeida, split decision, 2024 before that, then lost to Anthony Hernandez. So at this point, he's been in the UFC since 2019, lost his debut to Carl Roberson. That was kind of, a sign of concern. Carl Roberson is just not good in the middleweight division and isn't even in the UFC anymore and hasn't been for a few years now. Crazier things have happened in debuts, and then he dropped a decision to Albert Duryov 2 years later because, COVID happened, obviously, and that whole thing kind of, ate up some valuable time of his career. And then he came back, put together a nice little 4-fight streak against Alessio DiCicco, Claudio Herrera, Punahel Soriano, Josh Fremd, all by finishes. And, the ceiling was, about to be broken. They lost to Fluffy. No shame in losing to Fluffy, and I already mentioned Cesar Almeida. So he's just kind of been on a skid lately. He's 14-5 now at this point. He's 35 years old. He's not getting any younger. He's a tall guy, 6 foot, 75-inch reach, but nothing crazy in middleweight. But here's why I think Marco Tulio wins. I kind of see this fight going very similarly kind of to the Paulo Costa fight that Kopylov lost, just because when I was watching tape on Tulio, I was like, man, this guy looks pretty damn big for middleweight. Looks like he's 6 foot as well, so 74.5-inch reach, so half-inch less than Kopylov, but the dude just looks massive in most of his fights. So he's got that going for him. And he's also a pretty prolific finisher. I mean, the guy's got dynamite in his hands. 71% of his wins have come by TKO. 100% of his losses for the 2 losses he has have also come by TKO. With that most recent fight being last November, he lost in round 2 to Christian Leroy Duncan. No shame there. But before that, since he came on the scene in 2023 with his Contender Series debut, guy's been on a 3-fight finishing streak in the UFC. Tresean Gore just absolutely battered him, which is kind of aging well considering what Tresean Gore just did our Russian boy that we picked on the show like everybody else. So Azamat Bakayev. So, hey, look at that. Ihor Pateria, nobody cares. Nobody cares about Matthew Dick Loose, but whatever, dude. Dick Loose. So, anyway, Marco Tulio is a big guy, and he's a very good striker. He mixes it up a lot in the Tresean Gore fight. He incorporated calf kicks, body kicks, head kicks, very good hands. And also some of his regional scene fights. Like I was watching the Semi Dos Santos fight. When he wants to grapple, he's pretty good at controlling. Just always being aware of his positional advantages, his leverage. Just always good with the technique. Just doing everything right to just keep you where he wants you. So he's got a lot of options. I feel like he's a very good pressure fighter. And I think he's just going to pretty much kind of do what Paulo Costa did to Kopylov. He's going to mix in the body kick, like Costa has a good body kick. Tulio does as well. Calf kicks, keep the pressure up. And then in that RoboCop fight and that Costa fight, it's like Kopylov has just let himself just like get behind early and he just never managed to catch back up. Like Paulo Costa knocked out his mouthpiece. Paulo Costa, we know, has power. We know Tulio has power. We just talked about a 71% finishing rate with KO, TKOs. I just think it's going to be a long night for Kopylov. He's just not going to be able to deal with the varied attacks. If Tulio wants to grapple, it's easy for him to be able to do that, to be able to clinch, tie up, whatever. So I think he's just going to get behind, really. I think he's just going to pretty much lose a decision at this point. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, which is a shame because Kopylov, had so much promise, that 4-fight finishing streak he put together. But I think we've kind of seen his ceiling at this point. We haven't really seen Tulio's, and I think there's just more potential also for kind of Tulio to grow. So that's just kind of how I see it. What do you think?
One of the reasons we did so good last week is because we agreed on so much. We're gonna start the show going head to head this week. I picked this one because I really like Kopylov, and this actually opened up. Kopylov is at plus 170, and why we've seen this line move almost 20 cents is 54% of bets on Kopylov, 75% of the money. That is a big sharp lean coming on to Kopylov. It makes me a little nervous that we're seeing 75% of the pot at the plus 154 because Vegas isn't going to want to pay that out. But there's like a couple things about this fight, and maybe this is me biting the hook. Maybe I'm just the dumb fish swimming by the worm, but I don't understand this, man. I feel like Kopylov, I have him ranked higher, at least in my head, than Christian Leroy Duncan, and so Marco Tulio loses to CLD. And then comes up in ranking for Kopylov, and now he's the favorite. I don't understand that, man. I was watching that Paulo Costa fight right before we got on, actually, Bobby, and I can see what you're saying. I just don't think Tulio's that good. I just don't think Marco Tulio Silva is that good. Looking at his record, Tresean Gore, it has aged well, but still, man, I think if we go back in time, and clearly I would still pick Tresean Gore because I did back then, but I think, probably you throw a rematch between those two again. I'm probably picking the other guy again, man, even after I know that he's lost to Tresean Gore in the past. I'm just not that big on Gore. Horpataria, you said it, man, like that's not a quality win. That's not a good win. Dick loose. He's not a quality win. And you look at Kopylov, dude. RoboCop lasted with RoboCop, didn't get knocked out. Paulo Costa lasted with Costa, didn't get knocked out, which Paulo's not as much of a killer as RoboCop is, but still. And then you got Chris Curtis with a knockout. All three of those quality guys. Cesar Almeida with the split decision, that one's a little worrisome. But then he got choked out by Anthony Hernandez. Put that in the review. I don't even care about that one. Fluffy is on another level. And then, you start getting to some of these other guys, Puna Soriano, Claudio Ribeiro, Josh Rem. I mean, he's finishing those dudes. He had four finishes before that Anthony Hernandez loss. I just think Kopylov's a more dangerous guy. I think he's fought the way better competition, and I don't see Kopylov dropping a third fight in a row. Because, talking about Tai Tuivasa last week, how many losses in a row can you have before the UFC ends up cutting you? 3 is not a good look, and losing to Marco Tulio is definitely not a good look. I think Kopylov, man, I think the dude gets it done. I do. I'm happy that the money's not pouring in on him and we're seeing that reverse line movement. I think if we did see that, it probably would be enough to push me onto Silva, but I'm gonna I'm gonna be on the public for this one, just because I don't understand these odds. I really like Kopylov here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I definitely could be wrong, but we'll see. It's just a bit concerning, but we'll see.
Absolutely, that's a tricky one. But you know what? For me personally, this fight that we're about to talk about was the most difficult for me to break down. This is Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. While we're looking at it, Buckley 52% of bets. So this is kind of like exactly what we just saw with Kopylov. 52% of bets, 71% of the money. Joaquin Buckley at the plus 142. Even the odds are pretty similar. Buckley and Brady, though, I mean, we just talked about two strikers. This is a very different fight. This is the guy that is, all gas, power puncher, creative, or Sean Brady, maybe a little bit more boring, more of a BJJ grappler type guy. Both dangerous in their own right. Bobby, I'm having a really, even now as we record, I keep flip flopping. I have not set straight on somebody. So I think when we were talking about it, it sounded like you had a pretty good idea. So before I get my pick, I kind of want to hear what you have to say and how you broke it down.
I mean, yeah, it's another tough one, but I chose to go with Sean Brady. He's a minus 170 right now. You got 48% of the bets are on him, 52% are on Buckley. Buckley's a plus 142 on the money line. What kind of concerned me at first was Buckley apparently has the larger reach, which instantly started scaring me because, oh God, is this just like the Morales fight? But Morales is just a freak of nature for that division in terms of his size. I don't think it's going to be anything similar for Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley does have power, of course, but it's not nearly the Morales level of power. So that's one good thing because, when I was thinking about this fight, so we've seen Joaquin Buckley get wrestled a lot, right? Like his last fight against Usman, what was it? A decision by Usman, pretty much wrestled him the whole time and controlled him, pretty much did whatever he wanted, that type of thing. And so what I think is going to happen with this fight is, Sean Brady doesn't have to worry about, or at least he shouldn't if he's smart, I should say. Sean Brady hopefully isn't just going to basically stay at the end of Buckley's punches and just get knocked out like he did against Morales is what I'm getting at. If he's learned anything, which God, I hope he has, it's just start grappling, dude. Just start wrestling, right? So that is what Brady's really good at. He's really good at wrestling. He's really good at BJJ. I mean, hell, the man's beaten Craig Jones in submission grappling matches. That is pretty damn impressive as a professional grappler. In the ADCC fighting championships to be able to beat Craig Jones. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. So, I mean, he's submitted Kelvin Gastelum. He submitted Leon Edwards. I know that's not as impressive anymore, but it was pretty impressive when he submitted Jake Matthews, Christian Aguilera. He's got a lot of submissions on his record, and we just know that Buckley's not very good with his takedown defense, right? The only reason why he was able to just kind of beat the living crap out of Colby Covington is because Colby Covington was already shot by that point of his career. He's not a strong guy. He's always relied just on cardio. He doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the brute force, and he was just getting absolutely pieced up. Sean Brady, while it's very concerning that he was knocked out by Bilal Muhammad, God, that still feels like a fake fact, but it did happen. I'm willing to give him one more chance because other than Muhammad and Michael Morales, he's been pretty damn effective in his UFC tenure. And so I think he's going to basically just be able to do whatever he wants to Buckley when it comes to the wrestling, when it comes to the grappling, and he's going to be able to control him over 15 rounds. Because, Buckley is at least the same height as him. Morales is just taller than him, way bigger reach. Just a way bigger guy in general. It just looked massive difference. And while Buckley's very, muscle bound, obviously, at least him being the same height, even if he has longer reach, he's an accumulation guy also. Like Buckley's not really like a one-punch knockout guy. It's a little bit of volume. He does have power, but hopefully, by the time he starts to kind of get in the danger zone. Brady's shooting, taking him down, controlling him. Do I think he could get a sub? I mean, yeah, the guy's pretty damn good, but I see it mainly probably as a decision. I don't know if I'm going to officially pick a method at this point. I mean, you got Brady decision at plus 150, subs at plus 330. I don't think Brady's going to be knocking anybody out, but I think he's going to use that wrestling. He's going to be able to control the pace. He's going to wear Buckley out. We just saw, like I said, no knees Usman at this late stage of his career. He'll put on the singlet and be able to do it. And, Colby Covington should have been able to do it if he just, for the love of God, lifted weights a little bit or did something. But I mean, it's tough. There's always the fear that Buckley gets the KO TKO, but overall, I'm just going. I'll just go Sean Brady. I'll just go money line at this point. I just don't feel that confident that he's going to get a sub. It feels tantalizing, but I could just easily see him just going for control time as well. Plus, actually, crazy thing is, I don't think that Buckley's actually ever even been submitted since he's been in the UFC. Hell, he might not have ever been submitted in his career at all, which is crazy. I'm double checking that right now.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll go Brady money. Yeah, Joaquin Buckley's never been subbed in his pro career. So that's pretty wild. The majority of his losses have come by KO TKO. But for now, Brady money line. What do you think?
Yeah, you just kind of confirmed the stuff that I had been thinking, and which also just shout out the guys from Joey's bachelor party that we were talking to. They went to school with Buckley. So if those guys are watching this, leave me a comment, man. Say what's up. But I like Buckley too. Part of that is just, the grappler side of me. I always like taking those guys. But I also like taking just some more well-rounded fighters. And there's no way Buckley, I don't want to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but Kamaru just held him down. It was a lot like that DDP Chimaev fight. Like sometimes these dudes, they just get held down. There's like nothing they can do. Like you said, the concern with this fight is Buckley getting the knockout. But I would rather have all the methods I can with Brady than just rely that Buckley finds that kill shot. So, and even if this goes to decision, he has to avoid being held down and has to win 2 of those rounds. And that's going to be tough. Sean Brady, I think, is like that division's tough. I was going to say top 5, but man, that is a tough division. I would say he's top 10. Brady, he's really good. I really like Sean Brady. If he loses this fight, though, Bobby, I think that at that point we have to kind of start talking about, is he just kind of like man, I like being mean to both these guys. If he loses, are we going to start calling Brady more like a crotch sniffer that's going to lose to these premier strikers? Because losing to Morales, and then if he gets knocked out by Buckley in back-to-back fights, like that's a real concern. We might start moving him down the rankings after that. But right now, I'm with you. I think Brady's a dangerous guy, and we could very well see that submission, first submission loss come in for Buckley. So I am also with you on the money line. I think if you're getting greedy if you go with a method. So take the safety.
Yeah.
Let's see, Bobby, the next fight we're talking about. Now, this is a division you've always talked very strongly about, but this is a pretty decent fight, Bobby. We got Volkov versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I'll let you break it down.
I can't believe you just said this was a decent fight. I expected better from you. I expected better from you. You're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be my friend, and what you just did was you took a dump, you wrapped it up in tinfoil, you put fish hooks through it, and you just tried to sell it to me as earrings. That's what you just did.
This is a decent fight, Bobby. Come on.
This is a microwaved, steamed turd with 2 boys going at it, doing the truffle. I'm sick of it. I'm not going to spend that much time on it. You already know how I feel about heavyweight fights, and I keep doing it to myself every damn week, talking about heavyweight fights. Waldo Cortes-Acosta. That's all I have to say. Money line. He's currently the underdog. It doesn't matter how big or small of an underdog he is. He's an underdog. I have hated that man from the moment I first had to utter his name on this show. And it baffles me that this is finally the time where I'm like, you know what? I'm picking him when I have picked against him every single time leading up to this. And now suddenly everybody else is like, whoa, dude. Whoa, dude. The 6'8", 40-year-old Russian guy's a bridge too far now, dude. It's a bridge too far. He's got no chance now, dude. And now public opinion, I'm on the minority side of again. Don't know how the hell that happens. But Waldo Cortes-Acosta by Truffle Shuffle with lime picante sauce. Doesn't matter how. Doesn't matter because it's a heavyweight fight and it doesn't matter. None of this matters. None of this matters. It don't matter. None of this matters. What do you think?
I think this fight matters. Also, real quick,
lives matter. Heavyweight lives matter.
I don't think I said it. If I did, I apologize for repeating. But the money breakdown for that last fight, Brady Buckley, 48% of bets for Brady, 29% of the money. So 29% of the pot that Vegas has to pay out at -170. Yeah, they're gonna take that straight to the bank. So I think that's just another reason to take Brady that we were talking about before. Bobby, I'm on the other side here. I didn't know Waldo Cortes-Acosta became Dagestani. You think he's going to crotch sniff Volkov to a win? I don't think he's a better striker.
You don't think the man that played Dominican, whatever, Caribbean baseball is the better hitter?
No.
The man played baseball. That's what they call it in the Spanish-speaking countries. Jugar al baseball.
Man, listen, Volkov, he beat Pavlovich. He's a good striker, man. He beat Cyril Gahn, which not on the like Tapology if you're looking, he didn't, but he did. He got robbed in that fight. I like Volkov here, man. I think Volkov's a great striker. 43% of the money. So this is like a 1% sharp lean on Acosta at the +120. 43% of the money at -142. Vegas would rather pay out Volkov. And I'm with them, man. I think that's the side to be on here. I'm surprised. Also, this is the thing, too. It's always you're fading. The first time you ever play on a guy, they lose. And you're like, I hate this guy, and I hate him even more now. That's what's going to happen to you. I'm telling you, man.
Good, I hope so, because I hate this motherfucker. If I cursed him like I did Adesanya, good. Good.
The kiss of death.
But if I can get somebody I hate at plus money and they do win, then it makes me feel good. And if they lose, then I feel good too. So it's a win-win.
Oh, it's an emotional hedge.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I win no matter what. If the guy I hate wins, but they're an underdog, that's a huge win. But then if they lose, I'm like, well, hell, at least they lost, and I don't have to talk about them hopefully again next time.
Right. Let's talk about the first title fight that we're gonna have. That's Tatsuro Taira versus Joshua Van. Oh, Bobby, I feel very strongly about this fight, but all the indicators point the other direction here. So Josh Van won the championship, and once again, this is a guy that we were talking about. I forgot who it was before that everybody loved him, and now everybody's off of him. Who was that? Oh, was that Waldo? Yeah, Waldo Cortes-Acosta they were just talking about. Yeah, everybody loved Josh Van. Everybody loved Josh Van, and now
suddenly, yeah.
I mean, he's got 55% of the bets, but it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't feel like it if you look around the MMA community. Josh Van, everybody loved Pantoja is the problem. Everybody loves Pantoja, and they hate the way that he won it. If he knocked out Pantoja, Pantoja is such a favorite. No matter what happened, Josh Van was going to lose some points in the court of public opinion with that fight, unless he lost. So he won, but the way he won, people are not happy about. But that's not Joshua Van's fault. There's nothing Joshua Van can do about that. Pantoja fell. Did he dislocate his arm?
He broke like a dislocated shoulder or something.
Yeah, I thought so too. So that happened, and it's like, okay, that's a freak injury. and now people don't like Josh Van. The Tatsuro Taira fight, man, I picked Alex Perez to beat him, and like people see that as like the what is that TKO or KO win for Alex Perez or for Tatsuro Taira over Alex Perez, but man, that was a very competitive fight, and that's exactly what I had thought it would be. He gave Taira like everything he could take, and then he gets injured, kind of like Pantoja. He gets kind of like his was like a lower leg injury. His like knee gave out or something. So like that one really concerns me about Taira. And then he followed it up with a loss to Brandon Royval. And then when you're looking at the Joshua Van side, once again, not trying to do MMA math, but that was the fight of the year last year. I mean, you might be able to do a couple other arguments for fights, but I think probably in my book, that's probably number one, Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. That was one where I think I picked Royval because he had the grappling edge, didn't use it. Did not use it. He just stood there and banged with Joshua Van. Both of them ended up with over 200 strikes. That might have set the record. I think that fight might have set the record for most significant strikes landed in a fight. That's only a 3-round fight. Actually, yeah, it might have been most strikes in the 3-round fight. I want to throw that out there. But Josh Van, man, he is good. I don't understand why he's the underdog here. And especially with 55% of the bets, 51% of the money on Josh Van, and he's still the underdog. I think people are going to say that, oh, well, Taira's got probably the better grappling and that he's the better like submission artist. He does the whole backpack crap. I don't know, man. It's the fact that there's sharp money on Taira is bothersome. You get a 4% sharp lean onto Taira. And once again, the odds are just really weird. The fact that Josh Van is the underdog in this. So those factors right there are scaring me a little bit. But outside of that, man, Van's looked awesome. He has looked really, really good. And I just can't see myself in a world where I'm taking Taira, even with these factors factored into the equation. So what do you think, Bobby? Are you with me being kind of bullish on Van, or is that enough to scare you onto Taira?
I mean, yeah, another fighter who all throughout the come up, I was not a Joshua Van fan. Nice little rhyme there.
Yeah.
I was constantly against him, against him, against him. Guess what? Now I'm not. But
Mm.
once again, like Waldo Cortes-Acosta, where's everybody else at though? Now suddenly this is a bridge too far. Um, so yeah, I think you hit on some really good points. The first one is, yeah, people are probably thinking about the grappling edge that Tyra definitely has over Van, right?
Mhm.
Something that kind of gave me encouragement. I know he's a bit of a meme at this point, but Cody Durden is, has the USA Wrestling freestyle little tattoo, and couldn't take Joshua Van down. Joshua Van
Yeah.
had really good takedown defense, stuffed the shots, sprawled pretty much easily, right?
Yeah.
Handily won that fight against Durden. So that was very encouraging in the kind of limited sample sizes we've seen of people engage him with wrestling and grappling. So that was good. And then when it comes to the striking, he definitely has a huge advantage in the striking. His boxing's crisp, it's precise. He's good at taking the initiative and starting the attacks. And as he proved in the Royval fight, very good at countering. At one point, 40% of his punches they statistically determined were counters, because that kind of ties into my biggest concern aside from the grappling is Taira is at a pretty significant reach advantage. I believe I noticed on this fight on the statistics there. But hey, so was Royval, right? Royval
Right.
looked massive compared to Van in that fight. And, Royval had a lot of success in the first round. But Van made his adjustments. He made his reads and really took over in the second and the third and started landing. It
Mhm.
turned into a classic case when it goes down to the scorecards of damage, and which it shouldn't, but that's a whole other thing I'm not going to go off on a tangent about. Go to the MMA Judge Analyzer if you want to
Yeah.
hear all about that, because I can turn this into like a 2-hour episode real quick. But anyway, it came down to volume versus power, right? Royval was the more volume-based guy, throwing way more strikes but less accurate. But everything Van was throwing, he threw in lesser quantities, but it was landing at a higher percentage, made his striking accuracy higher, and had a lot more power, a lot more effect on Royval. So in this fight with Taira, if it comes to the striking exchanges, it's going to play out that same way, right? Even if Van, with that reach disadvantage, maybe loses the first round, guess what? There's 4 rounds left, and he can make his reads, make his adjustments, start countering, and start taking over. His takedown defense should hold up, especially as the fight goes on. Yes, he's tired, but so is Taira. So, shots, if he's trying to shoot, will probably get sloppier. If he's trying to clinch, it'll probably get sloppier because Van's very good at disengaging from the clinch. He's very good at playing his game. He's also good at mixing it to the body, mixing it to the head. He's a very, very good boxer. He's starting to get into that level of Vallejos, Topuria, JDM level boxing, and which is just really nice to see. So yeah, I think he takes it. I really don't see why he's the underdog, but hey, I'm digging it, and I think I might even go so far as to say with a 5-round fight, he could definitely get the KO TKO. If the odds make sense, I might select that. So yeah, it's something that. Oh, also here's the other thing, right? So as we're going to get to with the main event, I don't actually like to go into speculation and things that are kind of hard to objectively prove, right? As I'm going to mention with some of the things surrounding the main event. But if you're somebody that, in addition to objective statistical analysis of fights and tape and stuff like that, and the numbers and all that, you also kind of like the trivia and random little facts and, history, luck, that sort of thing. There's also a lot of history that is going against Tatsuro Taira right now. So in the UFC, it has not been kind to Japanese fighters when they've been making a run at the title. If he succeeds, he would be the first Japanese fighter in the UFC to ever be a title holder. So he's also working against that force that we can't really quantify there of all the years and years of history of there not being a Japanese fighter. So we'll see how that shakes out. But right now you can get Joshua Van at a KO TKO plus 300. I think I'm going to take it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Van money line, just the plus 136. But that is kind of surprising with Risen and everything that they have. I believe, do they have one over there now? Or is one
One's
American?
yeah. I
One's
mean,
American.
it's Asian based. I think it's based out of Singapore.
Okay.
And they could have had Japanese champions in those promotions. I don't know because Risen is a Japanese promotion or Ryzen or whatever, but the UFC's never had a Japanese champion.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that watch that Mark Coleman movie that came out, The Smashing Machine, and how he started over there before the UFC. So it's they've been around for a long time. So it's kind of interesting that they haven't had one in the UFC. That's a good fact, Bobby. Good pull.
Yeah, for some reason it just hasn't translated to the UFC at least.
Yeah. Let's talk about that main event, man. We got Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. This Khamzat's moved up even further, up to a minus 600 favorite now. How are you breaking down this fight?
Yeah, so this one, so we already know all the intangibles, right? We just got done talking about Taira, all the history he's working against. We already know, the things that you can't really prove, right? The he say, she say history, right? The interview with the Schmo Sean Strickland had, where Sean was like, "Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think?" And the Schmo was like, "Well, I think he tapped you out a few times." So who knows, right? There's this whole thing around the whole build up with the training where, Khamzat was an extreme couture and apparently he was always getting the best of Sean Strickland. So how do you look at that, right? I mean, Allen Iverson once said, the great warrior poet, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice here. So when you're talking about beating somebody in training, do you put stock in that, right? It's training. You're not really trying to go hard. You're kind of just, you know what I mean? Is that an accomplishment or what's going on there? So you got that in the mix. Plus you got all the psychological trash talking and everything that's going on. With who's in whose head, right? Is Strickland rattling Khamzat? Is Khamzat rattling him? Well, let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something, guys. Woo! Woo! Just repeat that for the next 15 minutes, like the press conference. So, alternate between let me tell you something, guys, and wooing. But no, with this fight, I think Khamzat wins. And I know that seems to be the consensus on Tapology and everywhere else. And if there's anybody who's going to beat him, Sean Strickland definitely probably has the best chance of most people right now because of his style and everything. But, a lot of people have turned on Khamzat and they're trying to justify, and I'm kind of surprised it hasn't reflected in the odds or like Tapology or something, because for all the grumbling, people aren't sacking up and putting, their money where their words are at on this, because everybody's hating on Khamzat. And I get it, but you have to remind yourself the reason why you're hating on him and you don't like him is because you don't get to see him enough because he's inactive, right? Because you feel spoiled when you do see him, right? And you're like, damn, this guy goes out there and just dominates everybody every time he does fight. His Achilles heel, his curse or whatever, the monkey's paw is that you only get to see it once a year if you're lucky, right? So people are frustrated, and rightfully so, about that, especially now that he's champion and he's holding up the division, and the division's starting to have a few contenders actually bubble up to the top after a long time of being stagnant under the tyrannical rule of Israel Adesanya and the numerous rematches. We're finally starting to kind of churn over like welterweight, get some fresh crop coming up, and you have one of the most dominant guys, not just in the middleweight division, but just in the UFC period. For a long time, barely lasted, 5 minutes in his fights. And the biggest problem is you just can't get him to fight. And now he's supposed to be healthy, right? Because the whole COVID thing, when it was so bad that, he had actually retired at one point, didn't even know if he was ever going to fight again. So you think everything's just finally lining up, and it's like, damn, this guy can finally be active, and he doesn't. So people are just kind of letting that cloud their vision because, everything about Strickland's game just kind of feeds into Khamzat's, right? Like Khamzat, when Sean tries to teep, you shouldn't teep against a wrestler because he's going to pick the leg up, use that to trip you, use that to snatch up a single, transition to a double, whatever he wants. Now he has your leg. Now you're on one leg. Now you're easier to take down. So you have to be very, very cautious when you try to kick him. He also is good at using his strikes to set up his takedowns. Like for a long time, he used to do like a high kick and then immediately as he came down, as he brought his foot back down from the high kick, just like shoot a blast double or a single, which was just insane to be able to have that reaction time and that speed and agility to just do that as one like solid and fluid motion. And also like at first I was kind of concerned when I was watching the UFC countdown episode, kind of seeing his preparations with camp. I was like, all right, even though Armin's the smaller guy, he's a world-class fighter. Good to see him training with Armin. But I was getting a little concerned when looking at the rest of his camp. It was just like, I get he's bringing up guys that he wants to like help get their foot in the door in the UFC, like the one guy whose name I can't pronounce who's on this card with him. I'll get to him in a second, but like I was just starting to get concerned that, okay, hey, it's great that you're trying to like build up the next level of fighters from like Chechnya and everything with you. Baisengar Susakaya, that guy on the card, right?
Yeah.
But how are they challenging you, right? Because you even say yourself, you're challenging them. Okay, it's great that you're giving them that opportunity, but like, dude, you need to be challenged by somebody as well. You can't get complacent as a champion. But then he's brought in some American wrestlers that he's been training with at a very high level because, Sean Strickland in that same episode when it was going into his camp, he's bringing in Pereira, a guy who beat him, a guy who's bigger than him, right? A guy who right now at this point in his career is a lot better than him. And Extreme Couture, just as a gym itself, is an elite gym. It's got like Francis Ngannou, obviously Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis, a bunch of other guys with a long reputation, a long history, and coaches to where he's training at his level or above his level. So at first that was a bit worrying. I think Khamzat's got that, but I don't think you're going to beat Khamzat Chimaev. I really don't think, especially Sean Strickland. His best asset is he is hard to take down. He's hard to get a hold of, but make no mistake about it, this is not an Anthony Fluffy Hernandez where he's just content to just walk forward and just get his face jabbed off until he gets finished. That's not how Khamzat takes people down. That's not how Khamzat shoots on people. And he also has in his own right underrated striking. I mean, the uppercut that took out Alaskarov, I believe it was, the one punch on Mearshart, like the dude has some power and he can definitely crack. I mean, he went to war with Gilbert Burns. And really, I think that's going to be the only type of fighter in the UFC who's ever going to pose a danger to Khamzat is somebody who is an elite level BJJ guy who is not afraid to go their back, turn this into the 1990s UFC, and actually attempt some subs off their back, and that can have power and that can crack. If you're not that fighter, it's just not going to present a danger to Chimaev. That was his hardest fight by far in the UFC, was against Gilbert Burns, and he still handily won that. Just got a little bit more drawn out than he wanted, even by his own admission, because he was like, hey, I stopped trying to grapple with him when he threw up an armbar and I didn't like it. So until somebody comes along with a similar skill set, this guy's going to be champion for as long as he wants. Because I kind of see it like the Usman fight, and I know Strickland was killing himself to make welterweight when he fought Usman, but I could see it being one of those things where like he's so worried about the takedown, so fixated on the takedown that like Khamzat catches him with something like Usman, put him on skates. Because Usman had power in his hands too. And spoiler alert, was one of those fighters who mysteriously got power as they got deeper into their career. How does that happen? And if you got somebody like Khamzat that's already had power in his career, and could potentially be gaining that skill set or whatever, I just think it's Khamzat by however he wants. I don't think he's going to take the DDP approach. DDP, it was an easy thing, right? He didn't really have much animosity towards DDP. DDP's always goofy. He always pulls something out of his ass. So it's like, why not just take the easy win, right? Like you see, he's not trying to get up. You see, he's just basically letting you control him. So he was more than content to just be like, all right, hey, just coast, right? Like get the belt. This is what it's all about. This is what I've dreamed of. Get the belt, and then we'll do something later on to make up for it type thing, make it more emphatic, whatever. But with DDP, it was just, hey, this is too easy. Why not just take it on a silver platter? This is obviously a lot more personal. He's not just going to lay. He's not just going to control. He's going to be looking to really violently finish Sean Strickland, either through KO, TKO, or through sub. I personally am going to go KO, TKO just because I think, like I said, he could do an Usman and put him on skates because he's so worried about the takedown that he gets kind of pressured up against the fence like how Usman was able to start that. Or, he does take him down and he doesn't want to do a sub. In my head, I'm thinking he's not going to want to sub him even if he takes him down because, a sub, it's like, yeah, he could crush the jaw like he did Whitaker, but it's just going to be more satisfying. He's going to have more leeway to just really pound his head in through like some ground and pound and get the KO, TKO that way through the grappling. So yeah, I mean, Strickland, like I said, has good takedown defense, but it's 5 rounds. I know we've had questions about Khamzat's cardio before, but I mean, that was when he considered retiring from COVID. I think it's been answered, a long time ago at this point. I don't think 5 rounds and cardio is going to be a problem for Chimaev. I don't think it's going to be a problem for Strickland either, but I'm just saying, man, everything Strickland throws, it's just going to Khamzat's not just going to stay at the end of his range. Like, yes, it's great that Sean's really good off the back foot, surprisingly. But at some point, man, Khamzat's going to cut off the cage. He's not just going to be like Fluffy and just get his face jabbed off. He's going to be shooting. He's going to be pressuring. He's going to be throwing his own strikes. He's not just going to be taking it. I just really don't see anything kind of like other than a puncher's chance for Sean. And that's crazy because I felt like the only person who was picking him against Fluffy. But like I said, this is way different style of grappling, way different style of wrestling than Fluffy. And yeah, you got my 600 money line for Chimaev. 72% of the bets are on Chimaev, 28% on Strickland. Strickland's a plus 440. KO TKO for Khamzat's at plus 380. Subs at minus 105. Decisions plus 300. Like I said, he could get a decision, but there's too much bad blood. So I'll just go KO TKO plus 380. What do you think?
You think there's bad blood when someone calls you a person who likes to make love to goats?
Person that likes to make love to goats. I'm your daddy. I'm your daddy. Let me tell you something, guys. Coward. You're a whore. Kadyrov, suck me off.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Bobby. And pretty much everything that you said, I think, is spot on. 73% of the bets on Chimaev. I think you said it moved to 74. But from what I had before we started the show was 73% of the money, 47% of the, or sorry, 73% of the bets, 47% of the money. So Vegas is 100% would rather pay out the 47% at the minus 600 than the 53% at plus 425. I don't see Sean winning this one. And I think the Fluffy win surprised me because I thought Fluffy was a lot better than that. I didn't think that he would let Strickland do that. But also, I think Strickland, he kind of showed me that, even though he is a bit of a decisionator at times, he can get those KOs, and he is very dangerous and does not make it easy for grapplers, despite not being much of a grappler himself. He has grappling defense, but doesn't do much offensively with it. You alluded to it a little bit. This fight's just so different, and you said that he was going to cut off the cage. Man, this is a very weird one for Strickland because Strickland is a guy that just wants to, step forward, plot towards you, 1-2, cover up, 1-2, cover up. He's good off of his back foot, but what he wants to do is he wants to be the one doing the pressure, doing the forward pressure coming towards you. Against a wrestler like Chimaev, you want all the help you can get, and part of that is going to be being against the cage. That way you have something to push back against. You have a little bit of a safety net with you. Not saying to grab the fence, which he might do and get away with it. We've been seeing that a lot lately. But, that's just not really, if Strickland gets backed into a corner, it's Sean, all that Khamzat has to do is avoid Sean's kill shot and just get to his legs. And that's the thing too. Sean, he's a good striker, but like we saw with Fluffy Hernandez, it takes a while. He doesn't just have the one-shot kill power. And I think Chimaev's going to be able to get past him. Once again, these guys were training partners before. Neither of these guys, and this is a pro for Strickland too, but neither of these guys fear each other. And that's one of the big things I think Khamzat has going for him. I think a lot of the people in the cage, no one's going to admit it, but people are afraid of Khamzat. They see this big, scary Russian guy across from him that kills everybody, that broke Robert Whittaker's jaw just by crushing him with his arm. Yeah, this is not looking good for Sean. I'm going to do the double method, the KO sub, but I think it's very interesting that you went KO there. And the more I think about it, I think you could be right, because I initially was on it for the submission just because of how much better his grappling game is. And I mean, come on, Sean Strickland, how much success is he going to have against a Chimaev submission attempt? But the things he's been saying, and knowing that Chimaev is just as crazy as Sean, and that these two have, with that bad blood, like these two want to catch each other in the parking lot and throw down. This isn't even just 100% for money. Of course you got the money. Of course you got the belt on the line, but Chimaev, yeah, you could choke the guy out, but is it going to be more personally satisfying to just pummel the dude's face in and leave him in a bloody mess like you would on the street? In a street fight, you're not going to be submitting somebody. I mean, you could, but It's not normally when you watch the World Star Street Beef stuff. You're not seeing wins via submission. You're seeing knockouts. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it, Bobby. But Khamzat Chimaev, it just feels like, I mean, I don't really see a world where Sean Strickland wins this fight. I love that the angle that it had. It's going to have to be some really special BJJ artist that Hamzat's going to be a little bit more hesitant to take to the ground because things can get a little ugly there. Uh, the speed of this guy, the way he can just, like, as soon as the fight starts, runs at you, try to take you down. He's on another level. There's not a lot of guys like Khamzat in the UFC. There might not be any like him in the UFC right now, but him training with Armin's kind of another guy that I'm very high on. That I think there's some dudes that are just built different, and those two are just good luck, Sean. I think you're hilarious, and I think you're great for the UFC. You make it entertaining, but this is not going to be a fight you're going to want to replay.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get into our Fucks Aroundy Bill pick presented by Fliff, our finishing fighter pick. And Bobby, you talked me onto it. I think I'm going to stick with my guns. We're going to go Joshua Van via KO at plus 300. I like it a lot. Once again, I would love to do Chimaev double method. That's minus 200. I try to give you guys something pretty decent with the finishing fighter. So we're going to do Van plus 300. It's a good number, but might not be the best number, Bobby. What are you doing for our haymaker, the big plus odd money play that the people can be on? And if they want to, they can use $200 in bonus bets over on DraftKings by using the link on our website, bettergreen.com. Once again, there's over almost, I think, $2,000, over $2,000 worth of free bonus bets there for you guys, depending on which sportsbook you sign up for. Fliff, bet the bonus. Sign up for Fliff, bet our Fliff finishing fighter, and now Bobby with the DraftKings with those $200 they can get from signing up for that. What should they put their money on?
Yeah, so this one's hard. There's not really too much crazy on this card as I was going through just now, trying to decide what the haymaker is going to be to use that money for. Plus, I've already, got the Khamzat one, and this one is roughly around, if not the same exact odds as it. And I hope I don't regret it. I've already taken Brady money line as my official prediction. I'm doubling down, doing Brady sub at plus 330.
Okay. Hey, I like that. I do. I like that.
Since we've already done Van KO, and since we were already doing Khamzat as a finish, really the only other one that was standing out to me was, hey, why not? Like we said earlier, let's see if Brady can be the first man to choke out, put that sub L on old Buckley's record.
And parlay it with Atiba Gautier via KO at minus 650.
Yes, please do. Ozzy Diaz, RIP.
Guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate all you guys. That subscriber number's been going up, and we appreciate it so much. So if you guys have the time, please leave us a comment down below. We'd like to know who you guys are betting on. And, even get in the community section on our website, thebettergreen.com. We have a whole community section there. We'd love to talk to you guys, see what bets you're on, kind of shooting ballpark. Maybe we'll end up tailing one of your guys' picks too. If you guys haven't, please subscribe, like this video, and we'll see you guys next week for another UFC card, Bobby. These cards are rolling, I think, almost all the way to the White House card, if not to the White House card. So there's no weeks off coming for us anytime soon, but we love it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, guys.
Peace.